All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at our first code. Now, we looked earlier how we could go up here to File and go over here to Examples and Basics. We were just checking to make sure that the Arduino was blinking. But what we want to do now is make sure that you understand like what the coding looks like, not just to copy code for the sake of copying code. So when you open up a new program or a new sketch, because that's what it's called in Arduino, this is what you're going to see each time. You're going to get a blank sketch that looks like this, and you're always going to see the void setup and the void loop. What the void setup is done, or what its purpose is, this is where you set up code as it says right here to run one time. This is naming and labeling your variables. This is making sure that you get everything set the way you want. And then the loop, this is where the brains of the operation take place. This is the stuff that will happen over and over again because the Arduino never gets tired. It will just keep running whatever you put in that loop. So what we want to do is get some things set up in here in this. So in void setup, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the Arduino understands which pin that we're talking about. And so we're going to be working on programming this L LED, which we talked about earlier in the previous video, being pin 13. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in pin mode, and you can see that Arduino recognizes it because it changed color. And so capital letters, lowercase letters, all that stuff matters. If I do lowercase, it doesn't trigger. So we need to make sure that we have proper commands. We've got pin mode here, and then we're going to go into parentheses, and we have to have two things put in these parentheses. First is what pin we're talking about. So we're going to type in 13, and then we have to tell it, do we want this to be an output or an input? In this sense, we want the light to turn on and off, so we want this to be an output. We're going to be outputting the signal, and you can see that it recognizes that by turning that blue. That's the only thing that we need right now in this. So this is the only pin that we're dealing with. Then we're going to drop down here in this void loop, and what do we want it to do over and over again? We want it to turn the lights on. So we're going to use a command. It's called digital write. And don't worry, you'll start to learn these over time when you practice. You can see that it picked it up again, recognized it, turned it orange. Now we got to tell it, we're going to write to which pin. We're going to write a signal 13, and we have two choices. We can go high or we can go low. And so one thing that you can learn here too, it's always important to add comments. And so if you do the two backspaces here, you can leave a comment. And this is, I'm just going to make a note that this is going to turn the LED on. High is like a 1 in binary code, low is a 0. So this is going to give it power. And if we were to go and run this, what do you think is going to happen? We got a loop of turning it on. So before I hit play or upload, why don't you go ahead and pause and figure out what you think it's going to happen. Okay, so let's go ahead and upload this code and find out what happens. And you're going to want to be looking right here at the L LED. And I'm just going to call this LED 2 for my sketch. Oh, so we've got an error here because one of the things that we did not put in, that we have to put in after every code, is we have to put in the semicolon. So we need to put that after every line. So I'm going to go ahead and add those here and here. Now we should be in good shape. That's something that is the beauty of Arduino. As we're prototyping and testing ideas, it may or may not work. And so it let us know that it wasn't working. Now, take a look at our light here. It's staying on because think about it, this is looping. And this is a computer, so it's going super, super fast. So it's always going to keep it on. So the question is, how do we get the light to blink? And so if we were to go back to this blink code, you would see that there's an on and off. So what we could do is we can add a delay. So we're going to go through here, and now I'm going to write a digital write 13. And this time we're going to go low, and we're going to add this on. And so I'm going to move this out because this is up here turning it on. This should turn it off. Now, what do you think is going to happen here? Go ahead and pause and come up with an idea of what you think is going to happen. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see if the light blinks. No, you can see that when we can't see any light, and the reason is that this is happening so fast that we actually can't see the light. So we're going to go ahead and add another line of code into this. And here's what we're going to do. This can process so many times in a second that it's actually faster than our eyes can actually comprehend. So now we're going to go through, we're going to add another line. We're going to add a delay. Now a delay in Arduino, this is 1 second delay. Okay, because what this means is 1,000 milliseconds. I think I spelled that right. Maybe there's 2 L's in there. All right. So now what we'll have is it's going to turn it on. It's going to wait a second. It's going to turn it off. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to write a delay again for 1,000. Now we should have the blink. Let's see if we got it here. Oh, look it. We got the invalid. Did anybody pick up on that before I hit upload? We forgot our semicolons again, didn't we? Okay. Boom. Oh, so now we got one more glitch right here. Now we'll go ahead and run. There. Now you can see on, off, on, off. So what I want you to do is I want you to play around with this and look at how you can control the LED light in a variety of different ways. Change the speed, see if you can get it to blink faster, slower, a different kind of pattern. Let's see what you can do. And go ahead and share your code and video so we can see what you're doing with this before we move on to the next video.